Today is August 1st, 2018. As I'm sure you notice here, I moved my mic to the other side of me. It was on my left side over here, but I moved it over here so it can be a little bit closer. But yeah, we have a few news items to talk about. There's actually surprisingly a lot of good news as usual lately, despite the price. So we'll look at the price first, look at everything in the market. If we just want to jump over to the global market cap first, we are about $27 billion less than what we've been fluctuating at, right about 300 billion. We have XRP up almost 5%, and I've actually gotten a few comments on my previous video talking about XRP, which is pretty rare. I usually don't get anyone commenting about XRP on any of my videos ever, so I'm a little shocked about that. I don't follow XRP very closely, so yeah, if you would like to leave a comment about that, just kind of leaving your opinion on it. Again, I'm open to hearing pretty much every cryptocurrency and interested in expanding the knowledge, of course. So yeah, if you guys have reasons or if this is just a random pump in XRP, you know, from what I do loosely follow, I do know XRP has been definitely taking some steps. The only YouTuber that I follow that covers XRP, and he does live streams about once a day, I think, and I do try to keep up with him as of recently, maybe within the past week. His name is Alex Cobb. I think he does a pretty good job at covering XRP. I know he's completely dedicated to XRP, and he always has a lot of news about it, but I am a little unfamiliar with it because I don't spend too much time. So again, if you want to leave a comment about XRP and why you like it so much, feel free, because the comments that I got yesterday and last night didn't necessarily go into too much detail. So yeah, I'm interested in hearing what detail there is. We have Icon as well, up 5%. Dogecoin as well, killing it as always. So before we get into the 4 or 5 pieces of news that I want to talk about, we can just jump over to Bitcoin really quickly. It hasn't really dropped below anything too insane in terms of support. This is kind of a zone. It's a kind of broad zone between like 74, 7600. So it's kind of right here hovering on top of that 20-day EMA, as opposed to the 200-day moving average, which is all the way up here around like 8200, and the 50-day moving average all the way down here almost at like 7,000. So I just have these 3 boxes here to kind of just illustrate the bottoms that we have seen, and so you can just kind of see how different or in comparison where we are now. So here's where we are right now. You can see we bounced up. We wicked up from about 74 or right about 7,500, and we're currently sitting about $100 more than that, around like 76.30 currently. And that's important because this is previous resistance right around this area. You can see even going back, it had a few bounces back here. Even back in February, this did serve as some support before it kind of fell through, but then immediately bounced back up. So this is a pretty big zone right here. Not to mention, you know, I think that 20-day EMA right here makes it important for why we need to focus on this. And so far, it's held right here. That's not to say that it won't go lower. But if it does go lower, most likely we could maybe see it go down to like 73, because that's where we saw it bouncing through for about a week, just about a week ago. The thing is, too, we needed this to happen. I know everyone's been saying that, including myself, but you know, the RSI was completely kind of overextended here, and now with the move that we've seen, we've almost brought it back down to 50 about. So we'll just have to wait and see what Bitcoin does. Currently, this is, if this can hold here, that's very positive. But again, if it doesn't, we might go down to like 72, 73. And if that doesn't hold, I would say the next zone would be right around maybe a little over 7,000 or around 6,800, because that was previous major resistance for about a month and a half here. If we look at Litecoin, Litecoin itself doesn't really have much more to move down in terms of the pattern here. So really, it's been holding above 73 since June 22nd, so about a month and a half, almost a month and a half. So if it would break below that, I mean, it's anyone's guess where the support would be, because you can see we haven't really gone below that since we were breaking through it back on November 23rd, so long ago. So, and you can see Litecoin, even the stock RSI is here, the RSI is here. Litecoin is pretty much, I mean, if it's not at the bottom right now, I don't know where the bottom would be. It's already so low. Litecoin is just taking a beating, so I couldn't really see Litecoin going much lower. But with this market, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it somehow did. But again, there is so much support, at least for the past month here, and it has really just not broken these lows. So yeah, contrary to Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is up like over $1,000 from the month that it was sitting here with support. It was sitting right around 6,000. Currently, it's still $1,500 more than that. Litecoin doesn't have that. It's literally about maybe $1 or a few dollars more than the bottom that it's had for the past month and a half. So Litecoin does not have nearly as much room to move down as Bitcoin does. And I also follow 4 other coins, XLM, Vertcoin. If you'd like me to maybe talk about those in the future, please let me know. I don't think most people, so I'm not going to cover them just now. I think the only coin that a lot of people do want to hear about on this channel maybe is DigiByte, so I'll look at that real quick. Ethereum Classic is another one I'm really keeping an eye on, especially because of that Coinbase listing looming soon. But yeah, DigiByte's one that is just looking amazing here. So it's above both the 200 and the 50-day moving average. Has not even broke through in a few weeks here. And overall, this pattern is looking much nicer than what we see with even Bitcoin and Litecoin. You can see we kind of had a double top here with right around 5 cents. And it wasn't able to break through that, but I do see it breaking through that shortly. Whenever we have the next run, I could easily see DigiByte because it doesn't have much room to go. The RSI as well is actually pretty low, so there's plenty of room to move up. The stock RSI kind of tells itself right there. But yeah, I think DigiByte definitely has a lot of room to go up in the near future. So this is kind of the first joke notes piece. It's kind of the only one that's not very serious. So what if cryptos were superheroes? This was on coinscribble.com. I just thought I'd bring it up because I assumed that, I thought we would see Litecoin in here. So we have Bitcoin as Superman, Ethereum as Batman, and I thought at first this was Litecoin because I saw the lightning in the background before I read Ethereum, and I was like a little shocked, and I thought, well, Litecoin is kind of also similar to the color blue, or uses the color blue a lot, so maybe Aquaman will have Litecoin. No, we have Binance Coin, we have Monero, Daredevil, and Tron as Deadpool. So Binance Coin has actually become very useful, I think, recently. Ethereum, Bitcoin, they speak for themselves. Monero as well. But Tron, I'm not the biggest fan of Tron. I guess whoever made this article probably likes Tron, considering that Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, they're all very well known. Binance Coin is getting more well known, and it's the coin of one of probably the biggest exchange in the world. But Tron, I don't know, it just kind of seems like it doesn't really fit in here. They have their reasoning here, but I'll leave a link to this if you want to check it out. I was kind of disappointed we didn't see other coins, specifically Litecoin, in there. Then we have this article on newsbtc.com. So Bitcoin dropped 7% overnight. Billionaire investor remains bullish in the midterm. So it was published today. And the billionaire investor that they're mentioning here is Mike Novogratz. I know I've mentioned him before. So the article reads, in the midst of the short-term decline, Mike Novogratz, the CEO of the crypto-centric Classic Digital Fund, took to Twitter to reassure his followers to stay long on cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. He says, or more specifically Bitcoin, he wants you to stay long on. He says, I don't see Bitcoin dominance pulling back at any time soon. Lots of cool institutional projects coming, and most will start with Bitcoin. Stay long. So we can check, Bitcoin dominance still at 48%. We can see if we go back past 3 months, that has been climbing very steadily for a few months at least. So let's take a look in the 1 year. And real briefly, generally when Bitcoin dominance increases, that can signal a good, healthy movement in the market. Altcoin dominance obviously decreases in order for Bitcoin dominance to increase. But it can signal health in the market. And usually, eventually, what we see as well, at some point, Bitcoin dominance, after a run does begin, Bitcoin dominance does decrease. Altcoin dominance does increase then. And that's what we call like altcoin season. You can see this is an example. Bitcoin dominance goes from 65% down to half of that about, and altcoin dominance goes from about 10% all the way up to double that, essentially, almost 24%. Same thing happened here. Bitcoin dominance decreased, altcoin dominance increased. And it can historically be a good sign. So it's good to see Bitcoin dominance increasing here. It can really signal strength and health in the market. So the SEC official Eric Werner introduced Jay Clayton at an event, who's currently serving as chairman of SEC. But Werner had this to say about Jay Clayton and his passion for cryptocurrency, which we saw, I believe, back in February. So he's a supporter of it. He believes in technology, and he seems very knowledgeable on it. But Werner is quoted as saying about Jay that, in fact, the first time I met the chairman, I walked into a heated discussion he was having with an attorney in my office about the legitimacy and viability of crypto. I was taken aback, honestly, about how much thought he had given to this space and the issues surrounding it. And what I have learned in this time working with him is that he has given every single issue that he has confronted that same dedication and thought process. So that's a good thing to hear. This person is somebody that does, or at least has, stood up for cryptocurrency in the past. And again, it's nice to see somebody like this in government and that has some sort of influence, kind of realizing and actually studying instead of just dismissing cryptocurrency, like very few, but some people do. And this article really quickly is just about blockchain projects. I'm not going to read through it. It was on Cointelegraph.com, written by Helen Parts. But basically, it says 90% of blockchain initiatives by U.S. firms will never become operational. Again, so the reason I want to point this out is just because there are already existing cryptocurrencies. And a lot of the times we hear that saying, like, blockchain is useful, blockchain is impressive, but Bitcoin is bad. Like, we don't need Bitcoin. So basically people, or at least people in the government, trying to make a differentiation between blockchain and crypto, or Bitcoin in particular, which doesn't really make any sense. I know a lot of people don't really understand that, because the people that are saying it, I don't think, understand it. It doesn't make much sense. But basically what that relates to this is that there already is existing blockchains that have proven themselves, such as Bitcoin, and such as these top cryptocurrencies. So basically, this article is saying that 90% of the new initiatives that are starting in the U.S. most likely will fail. They have some evidence for this. And again, I'll leave the link here. But I just want to read the last one or two paragraphs here. Previously, executive director of Hyperledger Brian Bellendorf claimed the coming wave of blockchain applications will not come from established tech giants such as Google, Amazon, or Facebook, as these companies have a blind spot when it comes to blockchain. Earlier in July, former Wall Street exec Mike Novogratz predicted that mass adoption of cryptocurrencies and blockchain is still 5 to 6 years away. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. Also, I did change the intro song. I made a quick little song to change on there. Another thing I created a new YouTube channel, if you're interested, just for creating music using FL Studio 12, the DAW, to create stuff and just have a little tips and tricks. I only have one video up so far, so I'm not going to share it just yet, just because the channel's like very new and nobody has subscribed yet. It's still really small, but it's something I'm working on. So if you're interested in maybe just stuff like that, because I do like making music, especially for this channel, just kind of like background noises and stuff. But yeah, if you're interested in like tips and tricks how to do that, the first video I posted is about how to sidechain, which sidechaining is pretty much, well, I won't talk about it too much because this is not a music channel, but if you're interested, I'll probably be posting it in the future sometime. I still want to put some work into it because it only has one video so far. But yeah, thanks for watching.